Hey, welcome in, welcome in. It is down 502. Raashaan Myers, Roman Kelly, Haven Harrington, all the wonderful voices of Wake Up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. We are here for the U of L basketball March Madness Mayhem special. Roman Kelly, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Looking good. Got your U of L representing. Got the cap on, man. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited to chat. I'm excited to get into all the madness that's already gotten underway and what we've got ahead of us here. Louisville gotten themselves into a pretty good spot in a winnable matchup, I think, in this first round, and I'm ready to get into that.
Cool, cool. Haven Harrington. I know we can't see your pretty smiling face, but you're on as well. How are you doing this evening, brother?
Man, I am doing great. About to head down to this youth convention here, hang out with some kiddos, have some fun. But in the meantime, talk a little basketball, talk a little Howard action in Dayton. They're trying to win this playing game. Man, the madness is real.
Yeah, yeah. The Howard Bison, the HBCU, actually it just went final. Howard wins the first game of the dance. They knock off UMBC 86-83. So they actually just went final here as we're getting going. So HBCU love Haven Harrington already.
Man, they almost missed it by like Arkansas, man, missing free throws. You gotta
Yeah,
hit your free throws.
Gotta
yeah.
hit
That
free throws.
Yeah, you gotta knock them down. Gotta knock down the freebies. Were winning most of the game, but yeah, they definitely let it get a little too close, but they got it done. So of course, like the Bison just did, University of Louisville is gonna want to get off on the right foot. Finally got their name called. Everybody has been talking about it. Everybody had been talking about, is Louisville going to get screwed over again this year? What's their seeding? Are they a six? Are they a seven? Are they going to get screwed over and get an eight? I heard some people say they thought Louisville may get screwed over and get a nine or a 10 seed. I had people predicting all types of ridiculous things. I always pushed back against that notion. I was like, unless you just aren't paying attention to what everybody else is doing. It seemed like pretty much every team behind Louisville, nobody wanted to really play winning basketball to put themselves into a good spot going into this. So I felt pretty confident, Rome and Haven, that Louisville was going to be okay in terms of not even safely being in the dance, but being in a much better position than they were last year. Last year, because of the ACC being down, because Louisville just really didn't have any big wins to speak of outside of beating Clemson in the ACC tournament, they just didn't really have a lot to stand on. It was a lot different this year, and I think that I was not surprised by the draw that they were given. Rome, what do you think about overall what they did for Louisville?
I think they got what they earned. I don't think I don't think we're an overachieving team. I don't think we're an underachieving team. I think our record suggests and the way that we operated in the ACC tournament kind of shows that we were a six seed. So um, I'm not mad at it. I wasn't upset with it. I thought the grouping, the region we got put in was a bit interesting when you kind of look at how the other ones are set up, but not really something I have to worry about when I'm just glad to be back. I'm just glad to be dancing. That's the most important thing for me. I'm not going to worry about all of the little intricacies to it when I know at the end of the day, we didn't beat any of the teams we should have been able to beat to get a better seed than this. So um, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, agreed. Haven Harrington, like for me, and I'm gonna ask you your opinion. As I watched, um, as I watched teams this year, I watched players like Darius Acuff, who won the SEC Player of the Year as well as Freshman of the Year. I watched Kingston Flemings leading one of the best teams in the country in Houston. I watched what Caleb Wilson was able to do until he broke his hand for UNC. I feel like Haven, it's always going to be a big what if with Michael Brown Jr., with the fact that he just missed so much time and what this Louisville team and what this program could have been with a healthy Michael Brown Jr. all year. I do think that had a big impact. It'll just be about what happens in March with this team.
Yeah, it's a real shame that Mike Hill went down because when he went down the first time, he was really kind of beginning to peak. He was really beginning to feel the offense. He was really affecting a lot of change. He just had a couple of big games, and it looked like he was about to take that next step, and then he goes down for almost a month, and then by the time he
More than a
comes back,
month. Yeah, he was gone more than a month.
yeah, more than a month. So by the time he comes back, he has to like reacclimate himself to the team. He has a couple of big games, but he's kind of been up and down, which is just so sad because this year, I've been listening to a lot of like sports gambling shows,
Yeah,
like VC and those guys. Just hear them talk about players, and everybody talk about the top freshmen, guys watch out for, and Michael has not been really talked about, and a lot of it has to do because he just missed so much time because of injury. So I'm excited to see what he can do in in the tournament and how he can affect the game. Because if he has a great game and if he plays well in the tournament, Louisville can make a little noise.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and I agree with you, Haven. I mean, that was the biggest thing. It kind of, and Roman as well. It kind of reflected to me just thinking about how much time Mike Hill missed with seeing the All American teams when they got announced today. The fact that you have three freshmen on first team All American, I believe two freshmen on both the second and third team All American squads, and just seeing how many freshmen were humongously impactful. And the fact that Michael Brown Jr. was considered to be one of the two or the three best freshmen in this class, it just feels like a missed opportunity. The fact that he had to miss so much time and had all the back issues. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's tough. You see, especially with some of the freshman guards and the way that they're playing right now in terms of Wagler, Flemings, Acuff, Brown. Michael Brown was supposed to be another name right in there with those groups and had more of an higher expectation than all of those guys coming into this season. So that's
Yeah.
what's tough, knowing that he was projected to be better than some of those guard names we've just mentioned, and those guys have made those teams, right? Those guys have gotten those teams into high seeds in the NCAA tournament. We didn't. We didn't beat the rival outside of Kentucky. We didn't beat the in-conference rival like some of those teams did, being led by those freshman guards, right? I'm not going to look into the Dybontas, the Boozers, even the Caleb Wilson. Those guys seem to be like those. I feel like are a tier of their own above the freshman guards. But Michael was kind of like at the beginning of the season, in the first half of the season, the first guard that got named after those three guys, pretty much. And now you don't even hear that as much anymore. Everyone talks about Darius Acuff and what he's done, and Wagler and Flemings and that system and whatnot. So it's tough. It's unfortunate. I feel like it's in a way, even if we do well in March or he comes and he's able to give us 15, 20 minutes and we win a game or two, unless we make a deep run, it feels like a missed opportunity with Michael Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for those counting at home, you had three first team All Americans that were freshmen in Darius A. Cup Jr., AJ Dubonsa, Carlos Boozer, or Cameron Boozer, excuse me, on the first team. Then you come around second team, you had Keaton Wagler and CJ Wilson on second team All American. Then you had Kingston Flemings, excuse me, the only freshman on the third team All American. But that's six freshmen, as All Americans. And you just have to think if Michael Brown Jr. is healthy all year, that you think that he's probably transcended enough to where he's an All American as well. And where is Louisville sitting, today as we talk about and get ready and prepare for the madness if Michael would have been healthy all year? So, it's definitely to me always going to be one of those things where it's going to be a bit of an asterisk on the season this year, because people are going to say, man, it just felt like there was opportunity there. Haven, to go back, to a millennia before young Roman Kelly, it almost feels like the asterisk of the 88-89 season when Purvis Ellison went down with the leg injury and came
Oh
back
yeah,
never really right. Does that make sense?
yeah. It was never the same. When you were talking about Michael missing time and what could have been, man, the only thing that really shot through my mind was that scene in Star Wars: Return of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith, rather, when old man Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, "You were the chosen one. You were supposed to be the chosen one. How could you, Anakin?" And it feels like Mike Kell's our Anakin Skywalker, man. He was the chosen one. You're supposed to lead us.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, man, to see so many freshmen have such a big impact. That's going to be one of the big what ifs. But you know what? University of Louisville has an opportunity to, in March, everything can be rewritten. It doesn't matter how great your season was, as long as you make the dance. Now you can make your own magic. And in my personal opinion, fellas, it feels like, to me, in my personal opinion, when I look at Louisville, I look at their draw, I look at their standing. I personally think that Louisville got about the best opportunity available to be able to make some noise and to be able to make some moves in this NCAA tournament. With the fact that Louisville's looking at, of course, on Thursday afternoon, facing USF, the South Florida Bulls, the old long time Big East, and Conference USA rivals. Come back to roost. We got the USF Bulls coming up on Thursday, and then more than likely, I would say Michigan State in the second round. I actually like the draw. Like, what did you fellas believe? Think about the draw, seeing what the other 11 seeds were, seeing what the other three seeds were. I felt like Louisville got about the best opportunity to make something happen of what you could have seen. What do you think?
I mean, when I look at the other 3 seeds,
Yeah.
I think you don't want to see Illinois. Gonzaga, I feel like there's question marks on if they're really as good as we think, right? Michigan State, we've seen what that offense can look like at times. I know aggressive, hard-nosed, defensive kind of teams that are going to not back down and be that dog mentality, whatever. Typically not the kind of matchup you want to go against, but those offenses that can become depleted due to the lack of creation they can have at times, I feel like that's the kind of offense you want to go up against. The Michigan State offense is going to maybe struggle to adjust to the whistle a little bit and has a couple of guys on that team that can be really streaky. So I like that 3 seed matchup the most, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean,
If now that's jumping ahead, that's assuming we've gotten a victory
yeah,
in that first round, right? And I don't like to do that. But when
yeah.
I think about our best chances of making a run, getting into a Sweet 16 or beyond, I think that we do kind of have ourselves set up in a nice little spot.
Yeah. I mean, because when you look at those matchups, those three seeds, the other three seeds being, of course, UVA, Virginia, who played very well in the ACC tournament, getting to the final before losing to Duke. You had as well Gonzaga there, and the big man Graham Ike, and having to deal with that headache, and then Illinois, one of the most explosive offenses in the country, as well as one of the biggest lineups in the country as well. You'd have thought that would have been a pretty rough matchup. To me, Michigan State, as far as a second round opponent, seemed to be the most pedestrian offensively. They're probably the worst shooting group of all those teams out there, even though Gonzaga may have something to say about that. And then Virginia, we know what Virginia did. Virginia did beat Louisville at home, even without Michael Brown Jr. Haven Harrington, what did you think about the draw for Louisville? Do you think that the selection committee, kind of screwed Louisville over, or were you okay with the draw?
You know, compared to last year, I'm happy as can be about it. I don't
Yeah.
think we got screwed over. I think the way we played in the tournament, the way we played in the season, the fact we only have one quad one win. I believe when we beat Miami the last game of the season. So it is what it is, right? We're a good team. We're not a great team. We're not a bad team, but we're a really good team, and we got seeded, I think, accordingly. I like the matchup with USF, Michigan State. I like the matchup with Michigan State. I know Izzo likes to play sometimes bully ball, and that kind of has me worried if he decides to go, bully and physical. But like you said, the offense is kind of ho hum, so we still have a chance. We have a puncher's chance against Michigan State, and I think we can beat Michigan State. I think most Cardinal fans would be happy enough.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And of course, before we, start looking forward to Michigan State and talking about the potential second round matchup, I feel like the selection committee, in my personal opinion, fellas, in this first round matchup versus USF, I was about as happy. The projections were coming out Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon projecting the field, and most of the projections saw Louisville projecting as facing USF in the first round. And I was very hopeful that that was going to be the case. That was the team that I liked, and it was either USF or VCU. That's what I kept saying. USF or VCU. I saw some saying that they're going to get Missouri as a potential 11 seed. That they were looking at that as a potential matchup. Texas was another one that they talked about. Well, I tell you what, with having the two ACC foes, you knew you weren't going to get SMU. You knew you weren't going to get NC State. I did not want to see a big power conference kind of underachieving team. I didn't like that. I mean, I felt like Louisville would be of course they'd be favored in that matchup, but when you're talking about underachieving big league schools, they have size, they have athleticism, they're used to being in wars from these big conferences. They're going to have a lot of size to deal with and aggressiveness. To me, anytime you can face a mid-major team in this situation and scenario, especially with Coach Kelsey's history so far since he's been at Louisville, his problem has not been with the mid-major team, y'all. You like
No, not at all.
Pat Kelsey takes care of the mid-major squad, so I feel much more comfortable facing either a VCU or a USF in this scenario. Do you all disagree with that? Would you have
He
rather
been
faced
he
the
been
underachieving?
beating those kind of teams his whole career.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like I that's what I would rather have seen, and that's why I was hoping VCU or USF, specifically USF even more than VCU. So I feel like the Bulls are a perfect matchup. Now I know that the Bulls have been talking a whole lot of smack. Enos, the point guard or combo guard for USF, of course, came
Enos,
out.
penis, pension, penton. I fuck them both. I'm not
that
worried about them.
They are talking big smack, y'all. He said, "Well, what did y'all think about that?" Enos comes out and just plainly says he feels like it's not even an upset. He feels like USF is clearly the better team. What did you all think about that?
He doesn't
I
watch
love it.
basketball. He doesn't watch Louisville. But for one of those talker kind of guys like that, I like it. That's what, I think for the sake of like a school like South Florida, I think schools like that need that. They need players like this that will come out and say these kinds of things and be these kinds of presence. So I'm not mad at it. March is all about this, right? This is what we want. With that being said, you haven't played anybody of our caliber all season long, other than what, Alabama?
Alabama, and he lost
Who,
by 11.
come on now.
you know, didn't do necessarily very well. I mean, I just like to me, I was surprised to hear it. Haven Harrington, do you believe in bulletin board material? Do you believe in trying to come in there and being quiet and just kind of like, because right now USF is putting a target on their back with kind of these inflammatory comments. Are you okay with that, or you think that USF would have been better off kind of just being quiet and trying to sneak in and catch Louisville sleeping?
Now, Raashaan, now you know you're the guy who likes the guys be quiet, to carry the lunch pail, just go about their business. Guys who score touchdowns and just hand the ball back to the ref. But you know me, brother. I'm all about the smack talking, limousine riding, Ferrari driving. I love the smack talk. You gotta smack it up. You never know, like, when you're gonna get back. You got nothing to lose. You might as well do it. What's the worst gonna happen? You lose. Everybody expects you to lose anyway. If you win, you look like an all-star. Case in point, Joe Namath, an average quarterback for the Jets. He talks smack, makes that one prediction, beats the greatest football team of the 50s or the 60s, and the Baltimore Colts. And he's revered as a great quarterback. But look at his stats. He was average at best.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, it's
talk your smack. You got nothing to lose. Talk it. Hey, you know what? And Pat Kelsey, has more to prove because this dude still has never won a tournament game.
You're right.
You know what was funny about USF people talking about Louisville hasn't won a tournament game in this long, and Pat Kelsey's never won a tournament game. USF hasn't been in the NCAA tournament since 2012. Like, when you haven't even made a tournament since 2012, I just don't know if you all are the ones to come out talking
Yeah.
about
I don't know if you have
tournament
room
record.
to talk at that point.
Like I just feel like that's not necessarily the road I would go down. But you know what? You
Hey,
know,
why not?
yeah,
Why not?
this is their time to shine. This is their opportunity. This is, I'm guessing, the way that they have been and acted all year long. So,
Man,
I,
this
I
is the only time anybody in the national media is paying attention to you. You know nobody cares about basketball in Florida, so this is literally probably the only press you've gotten outside of Tampa. And by
yeah.
Tampa, I mean not even like Tampa, like the two bloggers that probably cover USF basketball, the two bloggers I want to do on Instagram. This is it for them. So you got to talk that smack.
Uh,
It's just wild. It's been wild to see. It's not been the lead up to the game that I thought it was going to be. I will say that it's been a lot more lively. Like, to me, I yes, Haven, you're correct. I believe in letting sleeping dogs lie. I don't believe in giving the better team motivation to come out there and whoop your ass. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it,
save that for the rivalry games.
I went to the gym, just to give you an example. I went to the gym yesterday, right?
Oh God.
I went to the gym. Me and Cam was out hooping. The team that we were playing. Of course, me and Cam are big guys. I'm 6'4". Cam 6'6", 6'7".
Now stop
We had
lying. Stop lying. You know your son's like 6'8".
so you
Like
know our
he's like
team
six
is
eight and
big, and
120 pounds.
he is. He's a piece of big boy. And we're out there, and we're playing Rome against this team of these really small guys. None of these guys are probably 5'8". Bunch of 5'8", 5'9" guys, and they were out there, and Cam was going through the motions because we were playing a small team, and kind of going through the motions, and the little team got a little bit of a lead. They got about a 3 or 4 bucket lead, so they had that belief that they could beat us, and they started talking smack, and they started talking a whole bunch of shit, and from then on, we pretty much just blanked them and won the game. It's like, okay, now you're being disrespectful. Now you done got a little bit too full of yourself, and we just kind
Yeah,
of shut it down. Like,
been
to
there
me,
before.
Ron, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like this is you know,
I've been on both ends of that before, fellas. I'll admit it. You guys know me. I get amped up a little bit. I get a little excited sometimes. I got a lot of buddies that are better than me at basketball, but I tore my ACL. We're in a recovery state right now. We're trying
yes,
to get back to the peak of our game. But right before then, right, I'm more times than not the best runs that I'm a part of. I'm the fifth best player, maybe the fourth best player on my team, right? And
yeah.
if it's to a point where I'm getting buckets, I'm definitely letting you hear about it, because y'all making if the passer and the cutter is getting buckets, you know what I'm saying? The guy that likes to pass the ball on the team and
Yes.
set his teammates up is out there getting left-handed scoop layups and stuff. I'm gonna let you hear it. And if you start talking too early, and then deep down, at the end of the day, these two you're not actually doing something capable of doing something as well as you seem like you are, or you maybe think you are, because you've been doing it at a certain level of talent. It can come back and bite you. We've seen it. We've seen it before. We've all seen it. We've all been a part of it.
Yeah, they got a 1 point. They got I think a 2 bucket lead in that game, and started talking smack. They didn't score another point the rest of the game. It's like, okay, now we have to actually play for real. And
Cam,
it feels like
Cam
like
started dunking on him. You started
yeah,
doing your little Kareem shimmy shake on him. All right, I already know what started happening.
and it's like, I don't know why you want to give Ryan Conwell bulletin board material. I don't know why you want to give an Isaac McNeely or even a Sananda Frew, guys
Honestly,
who are normally a little bit laid back, motivation to come out there. To me, I
because
think
like
that
I
works
tell you
against
why.
my personal
Because you watch these guys play, and for 98% of the season, these dudes are soft. So you're thinking to yourself, nah, I watch these guys on film. None of these guys scare me.
Correction. They are soft when they look soft when they're playing Duke. And unfortunately, South Florida ain't Duke. South
They're not.
Florida ain't Miami. South
But the thing
Florida ain't.
is, if but the thing is, if your team like South Florida, if your team like Miami or any mid-major team, you got to have that swagger. You got to have the belief that you can do this. You got to talk your smack and swing your
Man,
shot.
they wouldn't beat Baylor.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't beat Baylor.
They wouldn't. So that's what I'm saying. That's why you got to talk your smack because it's going to make no difference anyway. It's
That
not
ain't
going to
I
make any
Pat
difference.
Kelsey. Pat Kelsey doesn't have any room to do that, and with a coach that with no room to do that yet, he can't go and tell his players to do it. They got to do their own thing still with that aspect of how we reciprocate and
Well,
respond to
like
these
I said,
kinds of moments.
well, all the pressure is one to win his first conference game. But even if you beat South Florida, this is the type of team you've beaten all year long. So this
That's the
isn't really going
expectation.
to,
yeah.
yeah, like this isn't going to uh, tamp down the fears of the U of L faithful. Being South Florida is going to do nothing for the anxiousness that all the U of L fans are going into the tournament.
Oh, I
Like
disagree with
you
that.
gotta be.
I think that
Oh,
winning this,
I
I think
don't.
winning this game, Haven Harrington, and getting the monkey off Coach Kelsey's back on that, because all we hear is Coach Kelsey's never won a tournament game. So I don't think it matters who Louisville beats. I think that if they get this win, they're
Getting that
going to get a
monkey off is
humongous.
huge.
It's going to be humongous. So
There's
I
going to be a
disagree with that.
But
pressure relief for
you know
Pat
what?
Kelsey.
Yeah,
You know what? You know what? Like I said, USF's a team that you've blown out all year long.
yeah.
But if you go against Michigan State and lose again, and you look soft again, it's going to be right back where it was
Then
before.
what
Well, I
happens
mean,
if you lose to
it's
UCF? Then Haven, USF. I'm sorry.
it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
If you, it's going to be worse. You know, it's almost like it literally took him to the last game of the season, literally to the tournament to win a game where he's been down at the 5 minute mark in 2 years, almost like 60 games.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it took forever to get that snide off, but you know, it's just one of those things. Like you got to kind of do it like more than once before people have faith in you that you can do it. Right? You got to do it more than once. Like doing it once, it's like all right, okay, you did it, but can you do it again? You know, it's like Dabo Swinney, Clemson. You know, Clemson had some big wins, but they were still known from Clemson until like they weren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, no, and I think that there's merit to that. I think that if Louisville get it, Pat Kelsey must win this first game, and we've said that all year long, especially with what was expected coming into the year. Louisville needed to find a way to get that win, and that was the most important thing. Will fans be upset or mad or yeah? I don't think anybody's going to be satisfied if you lose to Michigan State or whoever in the second round, but I feel like they're gonna at least be like, okay, well, at least we know you can win something in March. I think they'd still leave a bad taste in their mouth, but I think that they would at least say, okay, you've at least proven you can win. One thing you cannot do is lose this game. You cannot have the 6-11 upset, and I think
No,
that in my
no,
personal opinion, after all of the smack talk that USF did, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do my film review, and I want to see what Louisville's going to be looking at. And as I was telling Rome off the air before we got started, the only game that I wanted to look at and see what USF had, I wanted to see them playing against a team with size and athleticism that rivaled a Power Five team. So who did I go and check them out? They play on March 5th. They went on the road and played at the FedEx Forum versus the Memphis Tigers. Memphis had a awful year this year. They finished barely making the conference tournament, didn't do anything to speak of in the tournament. And I just wanted to see what South Florida looked like versus a team that at least has legit high major D1 size. And Memphis had that. And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. And Roman, I know that you've checked out a bit of USF. The thing that shocked me when I looked at this team and I looked at what Louisville's going to be facing on Thursday night. That is a small basketball team. When you talk about Enos and Brown, the two starting guards for USF, both of those guys 6'2". Neither. I think
Enos
the
not
point
the best
guard,
defender.
but Brown's 175 pounds. I think Enos is right at 200 pounds. Um, Neither are great defensively, and they're very small. Like I'm gonna put it in these terms. Kobe Rogers was always seen as the small guard for Louisville coming off the bench. Kobe Rogers is bigger than any guard on USF's team, literally.
Uh, I mean,
Yeah,
like this is the team that Pat Kelsey normally pace like about 20 points.
Oh yes, 30, 40 piece usually,
Yeah, yeah.
30 or 40
So like
piece.
I so like I said, so I'm not. I know our job is to break this South Florida game down, but this really should be a team that we should pace. Even without Michael Brown, this is a team we should easily be able to handle.
No, I told. I mean, they don't. They only have one starter over 6'5", and that is their big man Nelson, who is 6'10", who's listed at 6'10", 218 pounds. He's probably
Which
closer
means
to
he's
6'8", 6'9", probably. You know,
198 pounds.
there,
decent
there,
athlete.
there's one aspect to this team though that does worry me, and it's not
Yes,
because of their actual size or speed or anything on matchup technically based. It's
yes,
it's a factor that I don't even know the correct terminology for, but a team that plays the way they do that will gamble on the defensive end a lot, that will take a lot of threes, they'll take a lot of deep threes. They know they're going to miss these shots, which is why they attack the offensive glass so well, because everyone's in tune. Everyone knows when those early threes go up, get on the glass, get into the paint,
yes,
see if you can get a hand or a tip out on it. And on the defensive end, play your man, dive into those passing lanes, try to play off your man, see if you can help and create steals and create havoc. That creates openings and opportunities on the offensive end. And I think we can exploit that. But there is one issue. We have these weird tendencies in these moments to just this lackadaisical play comes out of nowhere.
yeah,
If USF wants it more than us on both ends of the floor, that's the only factor in this matchup that can hurt us. That's the only thing. Because
Man,
if they're determined to go get these offensive rebounds, and we're out there throwing bullshit, lazy ass passes out on the perimeter, not being aggressive with our ball handling and getting into the paint and probing and getting by our man, and we're kind of let's pass it around and see what kind of dribble handoffs we can lead into a matchup we like before somebody drives into the paint unsure with what they're going to do about it. That's the kind of times that they're able to exploit, right? Because they're going to play off of that well. Those kind of chaotic moments, they play well into that. You have to
yeah,
be secure with the basketball. And on the rebounding, you've got to just simply want it more than them. They don't have the size and athleticism to go out there and beat you straight up at all. They've got some guys that are athletic, but from top to bottom, they're not deep enough with guys that can really go out there and hurt you specifically with the way that they're athletic. Outside of their big, who can, yeah, he's that kind of dog mentality as kind of a big, kind of thrives on energy and hustle plays and running the floor. You just can't feed into that. Start throwing lazy passes, 2 or 3 turnovers in a row, coming down, taking bad shots, letting them get second chance offensive rebounds to threes. If you do
yeah,
that, they're gonna keep it close the entirety of the game. And that's the
yeah,
only way they can do that is if they simply want it more from the start, right?
yeah.
That's the
I
only thing I
think they
worry
can
about.
win it more. It won't matter.
So say it again, Haven.
I think they can win it more, and it won't matter. This is literally big bank take little bank.
Yeah.
They call Ice Cube.
Yeah, no, I mean this is a game. This is a game where I'm telling Adrian Woolley, I'm telling Michael if he plays, I'm telling the big guy. This is what coaches want to call an off two game, which means play off 2 feet, where you're playing when you're attacking the basket, you play off two, you land off two, you go up strong. If you do that, South Florida can't do anything to stop you. Adrian Woolley is bigger than everybody on their team except for their center, their starting center. Adrian Woolley's literally bigger than everybody else on the team. Louisville's going to have advantages. Like we haven't even talked about Javon Hadley or Isaac McNeely. Isaac McNeely and Javon Hadley are bigger than anybody on their team except for their starting center. Like,
So, to me, the real question is, would you even play? Even if Michael was available, would you still try to give him an extra game of rest?
Louisville doesn't need
Well,
Michael Brown to win this game by 25 points.
that's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
be
saying.
honest with
So, would you let him rest a little bit, or would you at least play him like 5 or 10 minutes just so he can kind of get into the flow of the tournament and then rest him?
Oh, I definitely think, and Roman, you can give your opinion. In my personal opinion, I think if Michael is ready to go, I'd love to see Michael play 10, 15 minutes. What do you think about that?
I'd like it. I'd like it. If he's ready to go, then you should be 100% ready to go with the way that you've been not playing and not, contributing to the weights that we've heard when you are out. So, I mean, if he's good to go, why are you not good to go for 20, 25 minutes? But with that being said, if he can come in and give us his best for 10 to 15 minutes, I'd like that. I think that's better than getting him at a 75% or an 80% for the entirety of a game, even really.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, no, I think that while Haven, I agree with you. Like, you don't need him to win. I think that you want to get Michael back for at least a game to get his timing together before you would have to face more than likely a Michigan State in your second round matchup. But yeah, I think that I agree with you, Roman. The biggest thing about this team is their style of play. They play literal to the excess of, look, the refs aren't going to call every foul. So we're going to just play as hard as we can. We're going to foul as much as possible. This is where I kept hearing all this conversation about this. They play with physicality. They play with physicality. They're a very physical basketball team. South Florida is not a physical basketball team. South Florida hustles. They play hard. Okay, there's a difference between physicality and
And
playing hard.
intensity. And
Yes.
intensity. Yes, I was
They
trying
just
to say something like
play,
that on the radio today.
they give effort. They play with a lot of effort. They are not a physical basketball team. This is a team, Roman, where if you give the ball to Zugris in the middle of the lane, Zoo should be able to score almost every time if he goes hard, diving to the basket like he has done against some of these other teams. Like against Miami, he dives to the basket. Miami has guys that are big and long enough to, Uday can throw Zoo stuff into the first or second row. South Florida doesn't have that. Zoo outweighs the starting center for USF by almost 30 pounds. Like, this is just a game where if Louisville comes out and is focused and just matches the effort level of USF does not have a shot to win. Haven, I know you got to run. Go ahead, do your thing. Do you have any closing thoughts or comments before you get out of here? Me and Rome will bring it home.
Pat Kelsey, please win that second game. Please, for the love of Louisville basketball, I know that's holy. And everybody out there listening to us, to the millions and the millions of fans listening to us, yo, you got to check out the Louisville Kings, March 27th. Our man Romy Bean's going to be on a mic.
That's right.
There we go.
That's right. Congratulations on that too, Rome.
I'm appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm excited. We're gonna have you guys out there, get you guys up in that media booth so you can watch the games for me, and I can I'm not gonna be probably doing too much analyzing with the mic in my hand there, so I'll need to get you guys watching them for me so we can talk about them. And I know what I talk about on this 3-man front show we do here on the Thursdays at the Big X.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
there we
sure,
go.
absolutely. Haven Harrington, do you have a game pick or a score?
Uh, yeah, 95-70 Louisville.
Beat down. I like it. 95-7. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Haven Harrington. Get on in there and take care of them kids, man.
All right, talk to you later.
There you
See you,
go.
Haven.
Peace.
That was Haven Harrington joining us. I appreciate that, Rome. But no, but back to what I was saying. I agree with you. Like their style of play, they're just going to play hard. They're going to try to get as many layups as possible. But I don't think this is a game or a team where Louisville's going to have a lot of issue. If they play
Oh,
hard, like Sananda Frew should have 5 or 6 dunks at least in this game. Like they don't have any shot blocking presence. Even Ali Khalifa, you could throw the ball to the block. Khalifa can go up and shoot the ball. They're not going to block his shot. Like it's a game where they're going to have to go and play with a just they're going to have to gamble on everything, and that's basically what they do. And one of the interesting things, Rome, that I saw against Memphis, and one of the things that the guys mentioned on the broadcast was that against Memphis, they played 50% of their possessions in 2-3 zone against Memphis to try to mitigate their size because Memphis had the one-on-one advantage kind of when they went man to man. So, to combat Memphis's size, they went to a 2-3 zone so they could, help off trap and things of that nature and just kind of scramble. If they go 2-3 zone against Louisville,
Javon Hadley gonna hit 3 threes. Isaac McNeely gonna hit 3 or 4 threes. Javon Conwell and Woolley both should just have 5 or 6 assists. I mean, they can't do that against us.
yeah,
They're
I,
not big
I
enough.
just And they did like both. When I watched the game, they played more than half of that game in 2-3
Two
zone,
three
and
zones
I
only
just
work in college when all 5 players are bigger than the 5 players they're going up against.
yes, when you have size and
When
length
you
and you
don't
can get
need to be
deflection,
doing
get in
it.
the
When
basket.
you don't need to be
Yeah,
playing a 2-3 because you've got the personnel to combat it. That's usually the
yeah,
times it works more times than not. And I get it. Usually what it's like when you've got 2 small guards and then every other player on the court's big. That's a good time in college to run one or whatever. They don't have that.
they
They're
don't
going
have
six.
that.
They're going 6'5" at the threes like us at times. But I
Six
get it.
five at the 3 and 4. At the
Yeah,
3 and the 4,
six
they're
six
six
at the
five,
four.
maybe.
That's 6'5" at the four. It's 6'5" at the three. And the three can't defend. And I get
Yeah,
that you're hearing it. It's like, well, you're talking about Isaac McNeely and Javon Hadley, who are both bigger than these guys,
yeah,
both of them.
yeah,
So
yeah. I don't see a lot there. I did not see a lot there on the tape. I'm just gonna be honest with
yeah,
you.
CJ Brown can get to the basket.
They're
Um,
fast. They are fast, and that's the
Enes
one thing they will do in
Enes can
transition. They like to draw fouls. They are a team that fouls a lot, and they draw a lot of fouls because they play very reckless, going up and down, throwing their bodies into your guys. Louisville's going to have to be smart about that to not pick up a bunch of silly fouls. But it's
Yeah,
it's very
Woolley has to be smart for sure. And
it's
Conwell.
very
We've seen
gimmicky to
Conwell. We've
me.
seen Conwell get caught up in moments like that this season as well with foul trouble. So
Yeah,
that's the one aspect of having no Michael that hurts because point guards are really good at avoiding that, evading those issues.
yeah,
The backup combo guards who are trying to defend with their heart out when they're going up against the ball handler a couple of possessions, it's a little bit different. They're not as savvy all the time as somebody like a Kobe Rodgers or even a Michael Brown who does that for more times than not in a game than a combo guard will because they're not guarding the speedy ball handler up the court so much, right? But we're
yeah,
playing out of position. We're playing. Conwell gets a lot of possessions at the point guard. Woolley's going to be playing point guard in this game, and they're going to have to defend like point guards as well because they're going up against 2 guys that will try to get to the rack on them. It's going to be, hey, attack Conwell, attack Woolley. If you get one of them in foul trouble, you're going to win this game because they need both of them to win, right? If they don't have Michael, that's going to be their game plan.
yeah.
Can't get into foul trouble. More importantly, you can't turn over the damn basketball and gift them those transitions
Agreed.
because that's not gonna that's they're not gonna beat you because of that, but they're gonna keep the game closer than they should because
Right.
of those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot out of Ennis. The same things we saw from the guard for Stanford, Corey. Where he's going to take a lot of shots. He's going to take good shots. He's going to take bad shots. He's going to take contested deep threes. He's a young man that puts it up. The young man Pinion, he does the same thing. He's going to shoot a lot of threes. He's going to shoot contested threes. Those two guys both have 100 makes on the year. Both of them are good shooters, but they take a lot of bad shots. Louisville has done a very good job of contesting and doing a good job of contesting 3-point shots. But with the speed and the quickness, I do think that there's an opportunity where I can see Louisville getting some silly fouls early until they get adjusted to how fast South Florida plays at the fastest pace imaginable. They have what the sixth fastest pace in the country, and
Yeah.
I think that's because they have to. That's because they probably have the smallest lineup in the country. Like this team is comically small. When
And
you
another
all
point
see,
on that, Raashaan,
yes, sir.
on the off of the other end of the floor in those hectic, crazy turnaround transition plays, loose 50-50, long rebounds, and we get the ball, or even basic missed shots. and we have the ball advantage, from where the basketball is on the floor, we have the numbers advantage from that point.
Yes.
We have to actually get into the advantageous positions from there. I've been saying it all season long. I say that February, it got better, right? I feel like
Yeah.
February we started finally improving that a little bit. In the transition game, we do this thing where we treat it like a transition until the ball gets right inside the 3-point line, and then we want to back it back out and let the defense get set. A
Yeah.
scrambling small team that's super foul prone, since they've upped their defensive numbers here in the last 2 months, that's come from fouling and testing referees in an A-10 conference where they're the smaller guy, right? It's easy to foul and get away with it a little bit when you're always the smaller guy that's fouling in those situations.
Yeah.
Don't give them, take advantage of that. Don't give them the opportunity to get set, get their feet set, get their hands up, and foul and make it look like good defense in a half-court possession. Don't even give them that opportunity over and over. I get we have to bring it out and search for good shots. You can search for good shots with whoever has the ball, whoever's in front of them, whoever's the first one down the court, get it to them. And let that person get to the block, get to the area of the block, right? Get into the free throw line and see what we can create from there. Those trailing kick out threes and those half transitions, they're bad at defending that kind of stuff because they gamble. They want to crowd the ball when those two. This one guy just attacked the 2-on-1.
Yeah,
they want to try to double team real quick.
Teaming anybody driving to the basket, just about.
Take advantage of that in transition, please. Don't think that you hold up. Let me not get down here and let me get risk getting in a turnover spot. No, go down there, put your shoulder into whoever's on you, and kick that ball back out because they're going to scramble and try to steal it and not be in position. Don't let them get in position in the half court over and over and over and over.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, this is a game where I think it's tailor-made for Adrian Woolley. It's tailor-made for Michael Brown. It's tailor-made for
in the half court, Ali Khalifa and Ryan Conwell. In transition, Adrian Woolley and Kenai Roos. All four of those guys can excel in this game.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody that's even in the strength. I mean, now they do have former Kentucky Wildcat Damian Collins on the team. He's he's about a 6'8", 6'9" long arm. He wants to try to dunk. That's pretty much all he brings to the table for them. Averages about 3 points, 4 rebounds. But outside of that, he's probably the most athleticism they have outside of Nelson, the starting big man. So I mean, they don't have a lot of size. That's not what they do. I just feel like I agree with you. As long as Louisville takes care of the ball, takes advantage. When Isaac McNeely gets the advantage going downhill, just go all the way to the rim and finish. They're not going to block a lot of shots.
See that left hand scoop. Let's see that left hand under the hand.
Adrian Woolley, I love the attack mode the last 2 weeks from Adrian Woolley. If he stays in that attack mode,
I love the right hand attack mode from Woolley the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Like there's nobody that's going to stop him from getting to the rim and laying the ball in. None. There's nobody.
And if they do, they're fouling.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Roman. This is the type of game. When I watched USF, the one thing that stood out to me, a guy who I know is going to have a monster game, it's going to be Javon Hadley. Javon Hadley is going to be defended by a 6'5", 200-pound a Kongwu, I think is the.
This is one of those 15
Hadley
points,
is going to murder
9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals kinds of game. This is one of those games where Hadley should have a stat, maybe 2+ in every single, everything.
Yeah. This game is tailor made for Javon Hadley. This is the type of game and the type of situation, especially with the style that they play, where Hadley's patience, his calm demeanor, his aggressiveness, and his killer mentality is just. There's nothing that USF can do to stop anything that Javon Hadley wants to do in this game. So, I mean, if Louisville shoots an even close to normal percentage from 3, if Louisville can shoot over 32% from 3 in this game, they should win this game by double figures going away.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about this game, Roman? I know we're coming up on the end of our show. Is there any other thoughts that you wanted to get out in regards to this matchup for Thursday?
Nope. They're the 313th worst team in opponent's offensive rebounding per game. They allow the 313th worst, right? Which it's like, I think it was something crazy. I think it was a crazy number, like 11 or maybe like 9 offensive rebounds per game to their offense. No, it was 6. I think it was like 6 or 7. offensive rebounds to their opponent per game, 313th worst. Like teams like
Yeah.
Quinnipiac, where they were at, really low major teams. And Sanan Defru, Zugris, Kanai, Javon, get your hand on that damn basketball and create extra possessions for your teammates, and you will cruise to success in this game.
Yeah,
Be
I agree with you.
lazy with the basketball. Let them win. Like lose the turnover battle and lose the rebounding battle early, and they will keep the game close.
No, I'm right there with you. I totally agree. Do you have a score prediction for me for the Thursday game?
I don't think it's as high scoring as what I do keep hearing. I think just because it's first tournament game for these two teams, a lot of nerves, a lot of pressure for both sides in this one. Just been trying to please the fans and whatnot. I do think that this is going to be like a 77-70 victory for the Cards, or
Okay,
77-72. I think is where I want to go with it.
okay, okay. I like it.
And I player of the
Um,
game, I'm sticking with what I've said on Monday. What I said, uh, um, yeah, just Monday, actually, I believe is the only time it's been brought up, Monday with Dalton Pinch show. But Adrian Woolley, I think he has a big game. I think he's in that 16 to 17 point mark with 6 or 7 assists as well. And he has an efficient night or day
is
on
this
this game as well.
you considering that Michael Brown is not going to play? Are you
Don't
just
think he's playing.
okay? Okay,
No, like nothing. No, I have no
yeah,
reason. This is just my own
yeah,
personal opinion, speculation based on what I've seen, not anything I've heard or read or anything like that. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think that I'm looking at this game thinking about Michael not being there, not necessarily because I don't think that he will be there. It's just easier for me to look at what Louisville's
yeah,
been the last 2 weeks and breaking down this game. I'm breaking down looking at what Louisville can do, versus either USF or Michigan State. With no Michael Brown. Like if Michael's there and ready to play, awesome. I'm excited for it. It makes Louisville better. That being said, I don't think that Louisville needs Michael Brown to get to a Sweet 16 with the teams that they're playing, in my personal opinion.
yeah.
Um,
I
you
think
know,
it's a tougher game against Michigan State without that level of talent, obviously,
absolutely.
but it's possible for sure.
Yes, I agree. For me, I think, I do think that this is a Javon Hadley legacy game. I think that Javon Hadley is going to be the man. I could see him going for 20 points, 20 points, 12 rebounds. Like, I feel like he's going to be the matchup nightmare for USF. I think he's going to get that athletic because they're going to put their athletic guy on Javon. Like they have to because you don't want to put Pinion on him. And Brown and Enos are just too small. So I think with that being the case and the way Javon Hadley plays, I just think it's going to be a long day for USF. Give me Louisville 80-67. I think that the Cardinals will win it by double figures. I'm not going to go to the Haven Harrington 97 to what do you say 97-70.
95-70,
Yeah, yeah, I'm not going
25
95-70,
point
but
victory.
it could easily be that. I could
We
easily
win
see Louisville.
95-70. We might be favored against Michigan State.
Yeah, like I could see Louisville 20 or 30 piece of USF. I'm just going to be honest with you. USF has been a team that has feasted on a very down American Conference. I give them all the credit in the world. Coach Hodgson has done a great job this year in his first year as the Bulls head coach. That being said, it's just a step. There's a reason that they have uh, weight categories in boxing, Roman, and
Yeah,
this is like a middleweight or a flyweight trying to step up to heavyweight. Yeah, like that's the best way I can compare it. USF is just too small. They're giving up way too much size. And Louisville, when they don't have to worry about shot blocking and size and physicality on the inside, they just don't have problems. So I do expect that they're going to get it done, and we'll get ready to see what Louisville can do against Michigan State on Saturday afternoon. Of course, we will be on the air on Saturday morning. Wake up 5:02, 9 to 11 a.m. as you see in the marquee above. 9 to 11 a.m. We'll be on there. We'll be breaking down everything that happened in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. And hopefully we will be breaking down what U of L will be doing Saturday and getting ready for Michigan State. And maybe we can laugh at Kentucky and hope they lose to Santa Clara because that would be Just hilarious. But Roman Kelly, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Haven Harrington, thank you so much as well. Thanks to everybody checking this out. Make sure you go out, like, subscribe, Main Event Sports Radio. Check us out, everything that we do. And like we always say, without struggle, there
There
is no
is no
progress.
progress.